Hi guys, it's Michelle from BeadNWire Beading. I wanted to come on and do a quick tutorial. We're going to work on our Dazzle Bling ring. That's what I'm going to call it. The Dazzle Bling ring. So as I told you guys in a previous video that I thought these were the cutest rings ever. And I know they're kind of old school. They were popular several years ago, but I thought I would give it a try and see how mine look when I'm finished. So if you recall in my previous video, this is my inspiration ring. This was a ring that I found in one of my Goodwill jewelry jars, and this is what inspired me to create my own. So this one is very, very cute. It's obviously the green beading on a silver base. So we're going to change ours up a little bit. We are using some shades of purple, shades of lavender, some blues, and these are Czech beads. These are about 6 millimeters or so. So I thought we can work with these. These are very beautiful beads. They have a lot of color to them and a lot of sparkle. So what you're going to need for this project is you're going to need some beads. And depending on how many loops your ring has, that will determine how many beads you're going to need. So, for instance, this is the ring base that I'm going to be using for this tutorial. There are several different kinds of ring bases, and I think I went over that with you guys a little bit on my previous video. But this is a different style. This has some loops, and they kind of stand up on their own. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 8 loops in this one. And the one that we're going to be using today is this base. This one is, it has a metal bottom, and then it has some, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it has some little loops sticking up, and that's where we're going to attach our beads. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 loops in this particular ring base. And this one is silver, not sterling, but it is silver in color. And you're going to need some head pins. And you want to get the pins that have the head on the bottom or the top, whichever way you want to look at it. These look like they're a little nail, but they're a lot thinner. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Any size will work because we're going to be cutting off a lot of this excess from the head pin. So whatever size you pick up is going to be fine. So as far as the tools go, you're going to need some round nose pliers, and that is to make our loops. You're going to need a good set of cutters. And I always have some just regular chain nose pliers. These are my favorite, I think. They're very small, and I think they call them like a tweezer type pliers. And they're made by Xeron. I'm not sure if I say that correctly. But I love these little pliers. They get into tight spaces, and they're really, really handy. So I use these quite a bit. I also have a set of just bent nose pliers, just in case I need it for anything. And you will need 2 sets of pliers because we are going to be opening and closing some jump rings. So that brings me to the jump rings. I have some 4 millimeter jump rings, and these are silver in color as well, just so everything matches. And this depends also on how many loops your ring base has. So you're gonna need some jump rings, and obviously you're gonna need the ring base, and you're gonna need some creativity. So I think we have all that in front of us right now. So for this particular ring, there's different ways of putting these rings together. This tutorial, I'm going to just touch base on this particular way of doing it. There is also a couple other different ways of doing it. I may do another tutorial and show you the differences, and then we can compare the rings and see which technique we like the best. So as you can see, I've already started. Just for time's sake, I didn't want to be on this video for a long time doing the same repetitious thing. So what I did, I took my beads and my head pins, and I'm making drops. So a drop is going to be a head pin, and you're going to slide a bead onto your head pin, just like that, easy. And then you're going to make a little loop. So the way I do these loops with these small little drops, I'm going to use my round nose pliers and do the bending of the head pin. I kind of like to use round nose pliers because it gives a little bit of a crisp bent shape into this wire, versus if you use chain nose pliers, it kind of makes it a rounded type bend. But we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to bend this away from us, and then without taking the pliers out, I'm going to place the pliers above the bent part that we just bent. Then I'm going to take this tail and I'm going to bring it towards me and wrap it around the upper jaw of my round nose pliers. And I'm going to continue that. And since we're making a loop, I want to go ahead and bring my wrist around and also bring the tail around as well. So we're just kind of crisscrossing the head pin to make a little loop. So there is that one. I'll show you how we finish this off in just a moment. So a drop, after we trim this back, we are going to end up with these little drops. And it's basically just a little bead on a head pin with a loop on the end. And you're going to need quite a few of these. So like I said, depending on what type of ring base you're using for your project, that will determine how many drops you need to make. So for example, this is a 7-loop ring base. So I'm going to be doing 5 of these drops per loop. So you will take 7 loops and multiply that by 5 of these drops, and that will equal 35 drops that you're going to need to make. So as you can see, I've already got most of this ring finished, and I'll show you how we're going to attach the last 3. I have 3 more little loops left to attach our beads to. So I'll show you how I do that. First I'm going to go ahead and finish up my little drops. So once again, we're going to just attach our bead onto the head pin. Make sure it's all the way to the bottom. We're going to use our round nose pliers, and we're going to grip the head pin right at the base above the bead, and we're going to bend the head pin away from me to like a 90-degree angle. And without removing the pliers, I'm just going to bring the pliers up to the bend, and then I'm going to take the tail and bring it towards me, and we are forming a loop. So I'm going to bring my wrist around, and I'm going to keep rolling the head pin around until I make a loop. I hope you guys can see that. So this is the second one, and we're going to be trimming these down in just a few minutes, so we'll be able to attach these to our jump ring and then to our ring base. So let me go ahead and make the rest of these. So once again, head pin, bead, bend, bring it up, bring it around, and then keep rolling my wrist until we make a loop. And these don't have to be perfect, and they don't have to be consistently the same size, because as you can see, this ring, there's various sizes of loops here, and that's what makes the ring unique. That's what gives the ring the dimension, and also it fills up the whole base. Okay, so let's do another, same thing. So once you have all your little drops made, the rest of the process is really, really easy and really fast. Actually, I think the whole thing is really easy. It's just kind of putting your color scheme together and getting your drops made. That's the most time-consuming part, I think. Okay. So I'm probably going to do, like I said, another tutorial and show you guys how to do the other technique with these ring bases. There's different ways of doing this, but I found that this one is pretty quick and pretty easy. So I thought I would do this particular one first. Okay. So after you've made your loops and you still have your tail, I go ahead and just take my cutters, and I'm just going to trim this long tail off, and that way it'll finish out my loop. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and trim this. And trim that. And I'm going to go ahead and trim all these at once, and then I'll go back and make sure my loops are nice and tight and consistent. I tried to make these loops by trimming the tail before, but they're so small, it's kind of hard for me to hold on to all this stuff and try to make the loops. So I found that this way is easier for me. So you will find your own way, and it doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you get to the same result. I don't see a problem in that at all. I think we all have our own techniques, our own way of doing things, and that's what makes it unique. Okay, we'll do this one. So I just want to make sure that I don't trim off too much. And if you do, all you do is just trim it all off, and you will get another head pin and start over. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and reshape, make sure my loops are nice and tight. That one's still a little bit too long. Okay. Oh, I don't really like that one, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one's perfect, right? We're just here to have fun. And I think this ring is so fun. I love, love, love looking at this ring. It is so darn cute. And who knows, maybe they'll be back in style. Okay. Gosh, I didn't want to take a long time on doing these on camera. I was hoping to get through this pretty quickly so you guys aren't bored. Okay. So it's probably best to do like an assembly line, kind of like what I did. You can attach your beads to your head pins and do them all at once, and then go back through and do your loops, and then go back through and trim off your excess. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take our jump ring, and just to give you guys a quick reminder on how to open a jump ring, I'm going to use this large one. You never open the jump rings just by spreading it apart. You want to take 2 pairs of pliers, and you will bring one plier towards you and push the other plier away from you. Just like that. So you're kind of like twisting it. And then when you close it, you're just going to do the opposite, and then just bring the 2 ends together. And you can kind of give it a wiggle, and it'll kind of seat itself back to where it's supposed to be. So that's pretty darn easy. So I have a jump ring that I opened already, and I'm just going to attach 5, I'm doing 5 little bead drops on each jump ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you kind of want to make sure your colors are not duplicated that many times in one jump ring, or if you have a pattern going, make sure you have that set up. So carefully, you're going to take your open jump ring with your 5 little bead drops, and we'll call this a cluster. You're going to find your loop in the ring, and then we're going to carefully, hopefully I could do this without dropping it. We're going to carefully slide our jump ring into the loop. So once this thing gets full, it gets a little bit more tricky to get your jump ring in there. So there we go. And then we take our pliers, and we're going to twist this back together, and we're going to make sure it is nice and closed. All right, you want to give it a little shake, make sure it's in there securely. That looks very cool. So let's go ahead and do our other drop. We're going to open our jump ring, and I'm going to attach 5 of my bead drops to one jump ring. And if you could fit 6 on each jump ring, by all means do that. The more you can attach to the jump ring, the better. It makes the ring a lot more fuller and it fills it out, and it just makes it look so good. And you never know, I might go back through my ring and add more drops, but right now I figured 5 would be sufficient. Okay, so I have 5 on there, and let's see if I can get this cluster of beads onto the loop without dropping it. Okay. So obviously you want to start from one end to the other. You don't want to skip around because you'll never find your loops again when you have all your beads attached. So, okay, right there it is. Ah, see, that happens. It definitely happens. So just be patient and we will just do it again. I thought I was going to get lucky and not have it fall on camera, but that's okay. It just shows you what could happen when you're making these little Dazzle Bling rings. Okay. All right, let's try it one more time. And make sure you have patience when you do this because you can't rush through this. All right, let's try it this way. I'm going to hold my breath, make sure it stays. I kind of find that if you keep an eye on your jump ring in there and don't take your eyes off of it, it can be a lot easier to attach these. Make sure you have good lighting. Make sure if you have to wear glasses, make sure you have those because these are very tiny and tedious at times. See, I've already lost the end of my little jump ring, but I'm just going to try it. I'm afraid to let go. Okay, I see it now. I think we've got it pretty much closed already. And these little pliers come in handy, as you can see. They're very tiny and pointy, so that really allows me to get in there and not worry about you know, messing up the other beads or the other jump rings. Okay. All right, we have one more to go, guys. Isn't this beautiful? So let's open our jump ring. And we'll attach our 5 little bead drops. So you can use all one color of beads. You can use different colored beads. You can make a pattern, like make one color of beads in the middle, and then do different color on the outside. There's so many options you can do with these little Dazzle rings. All right, one more. Okay. I'm going to close this up a little bit before I go in. All right, let's do our last little loop. See, I can't even find the loop because there's so many beads on here already. I think it's down here. There it is. Okay. Just got to keep playing with it until you can get in there. And I did skip a little bit, just for the camera purposes. I put the ends on first, which I probably should have just worked my way from one side to the other. But that's okay. Now we know what not to do for the next time, right? So sometimes it's okay to do it this way. Okay, so let me open that up a little bit more. Okay. So if I can't get this last little dangle on here, guys, I'm just gonna finish up the video. I don't want to sit here and wrestle with this for any long amount of time, because I'm sure it's not fun for you guys to watch this. Make sure you have good lighting when you do this too, because these get very hard to see after a while. Sometimes you have to go in blind and just kind of feel around for it. Oh, I missed it again. Yeah, it's not going to stay in there. So I'm going to go ahead and just finish this off camera. I just had the one more dangle to put on. But as you guys can see, here is my Dazzle Bling ring. Isn't she gorgeous? And I'm so excited to try different color schemes and different types of beads with this. This was so fun, and it's really, really easy once you get the hang of it. And then if you do your assembly line and you lay out everything you need and do all your little assembly with each section, it seems like it goes a lot faster. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys have any tips or tricks on how to make these bling rings, please share with me. I would love to learn. And once again, I will come back on and do a different technique on this type of loop base ring. So once again, everybody should make their own Dazzle Bling ring. It's so fun and so gorgeous to wear. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your patience. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. We are getting ready for another giveaway. I will be making that announcement in the next day or so. And I would love to give away something to someone that is a subscriber to the channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, and I really, really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again. Good night.